But at the rate they charge, it won't work for you. It'll be too expensive for the result. You've got a lot of options with your capital. You can, number one, negotiate lower rates. Number two, do what's called a guaranteed sale. If a radio station, for example, said, we want $100 a commercial, and you had $10,000, and that would only buy you 100 commercials, you might say, I'll tell you what, I need to get $30,000 worth of sales, and I will pay the $10,000, but you need to guarantee me that if the $10,000 doesn't produce the $30,000 of sales, you'll keep running ads for me until it does. And you can negotiate. When you hire people, you can move part of their compensation to performance, so you're not paying as much initially, and you might pay twice as much ultimately, but you won't care because they're being paid in direct result to the profit they make you. We talked about intellectual property. You might have a skill set. Let's give you some examples. You might be better at selling a certain industry, a certain kind of product or service, and you can take that skill set and offer it to a lot of other people that want to use it and have them pay you a fee plus a percentage, whether you sell it yourself or whether you teach their people to do it. You might have a technology that you've created that can be repurposed to lots of other industries. You might be able to go to companies outside of the market you want to target for whatever business you either want to start or buy, and you might be able to arrange to use that other company's proven selling system or advertising or operational system or inventory control system. It just gets very exciting because you do not have to do anything on your own, and you do not have to spend money you don't have. You don't have to spend money unwisely. You don't have to spend money at all if you understand these options. And when I say capital, capital is money. Capital is opportunity cost. What does that mean? It means when you finally complete the modules in this program, you will realize that you have a number of options, opportunities, possibilities. For example, you can look within and say, here's my skill. I'm going to start part-time a service where I make my skill available to other either consumers or companies. And then you could say, I'm going to do that and either grow that, or I'm going to do that until I grow $100,000 so I can buy another business. Or you can buy a business that is struggling, but you analyze they have terrible marketing, they don't use their relationships, they don't try to get their buyers to buy easier, buy more things, buy more often, and you can acquire that kind of business not for writing a check right now, but for paying the owner a larger amount than the business is worth right now, but paying him or her out of the revenue you generate once you take over. You can buy into a business by adding more revenue streams or profit centers. As I said, if a company doesn't have a sales force and you can sell, you can go and say, I'll build a sales revenue stream and I want half ownership in all the profit that comes from it. You can go to a company that has an extraordinary brand but does not use the brand in as many ways as they could or should. And you could say, I want to create new applications or new ways to use your brand. License people, create products or services that take advantage of the brand, create products or services we can sell to your distribution network. I can go on and on, but the important point is you will have so many options that the most important decision you will make is opportunity cost. What that means is here's where you are right now. When you realize what's possible, you can be, and this is as high as my short arms will reach, but I'm trying to reach to the ceiling. You can reach for the stars long term, but trying to catapult is hard. Taking easy, safe, high success probability steps are extraordinary. And once you understand these leverage points, these drivers, then you understand your options. Then I take you deeper into each category, which we'll be doing in future modules. Then you understand marketing really deeply. Then you understand strategic alliances really deeply. Then you understand how much power you really already possess. Then you understand how to take advantage of all these factors and forces. The most important decision you will be making is what is the best use of my opportunity cost right now. And opportunity cost for your purposes means a number of things. If you want to start part-time, it means what's the best area I can pursue part-time, either using my skill or using my capital or using relationships that has the highest success probability for the time I can invest, because you may not want to quit your job right now, or you may be in school. Second opportunity cost is if I'm going to start a business from scratch, what business could I start that has the biggest gaps, the biggest voids in the market, and where I can take the greatest advantage? Number three, if I'm going to buy an existing business, what business can I bring the greatest advantage to with the least amount of capital? Number three, if I'm going to try to do a deal with somebody who already has a brand and I want to add something to it, where's the highest probability of me being successful? And then number three, opportunity cost, where am I ultimately trying to get to? Because if you don't know where you're trying to go, you can't get there. And again, today I'm just trying to show you what's possible. But you can go a lot of places. You might say, I want to start with my skill part-time just to make money to buy a business. And I'm going to buy a business in a market that's very weak, there I can bring marketing advantage, strategic advantage, relationship advantage. And then I'm going to buy more of them with the profits so I can build a little mini empire. You might say, I'm going to buy a business. I'm going to quickly multiply its profit and performance, and then I'm going to sell it for a big profit. You might say, I'm going to buy a business and turn it into a constant revenue generator so I can use that revenue to buy other businesses. You have lots of options, lots of possibilities. I'm not going to even get into them today. It's not what we're doing. We're just trying to show you that there are these drivers: strategy, marketing, relationships, capital, and then processes and procedures. But I've already covered that. And there are many, many more, but I want to move because I can spend all this time. I want to go back to the three-way to grow business model. Remember, you figure out ways to attract more prospects, and I didn't say this, cost effectively, and convert or transform them from prospects to first-time buyers. You figure out how to make, when they buy, them spend more money ethically so it's more profitable. You figure out how to get them to come back more often, more times, buying more things. And if you don't have more things for them to buy, you find more things that you can offer in many different ways. You can partner, you can license, you can joint venture, you can white label. But then you do the Power Parthenon, all these pillars. There's actually another addition to the 3 ways to grow a business. I'm just trying to show you what's possible. Because you will find at the end of this, we're going to give you a customizable action planning guide that will let you take everything I will teach you and then play with it in different combinations to see which one makes the greatest sense for who you are and where you're at in your life and what you want and where you want your life to take you in business as a business owner or an entrepreneur or an independent income earner, or whether you want to do it for another company. And you'll have all these options that you can put on a template and then put on a planning guide, almost like a kaleidoscope, and you can see the different variations. But let me tell you the other 3 ways to grow a business, and these are advanced 3 ways, and they're very exciting. First thing is you want to do the first 3 ways that I told you about earlier. Second, you want to do the Power Parthenon, and it's all explained in your workbook. But once you get those things well established, now you've got 3 advanced ways to grow your business. Advanced way number 1 is every year you penetrate one new market. You take your product or your service or your knowledge or your skill or your intellectual property to one new market. And a market could be a different industry, market can be a different city, market can be a different country, market could be a different application. The second thing you do is you introduce one new product or service at least every year to your existing client. And you have 2 ways to do this, which is very interesting. You can introduce one new low-priced product or service, or no-priced, meaning something that's no charge. It's functionally free. Why would you do that? Because lower-priced or no-priced products make it very easy for a marketplace to start a relationship with you. The sooner they start a relationship with you, the sooner they buy the first time. The sooner they buy the first time, the sooner they buy the second time, and the third and the fourth. Why you might want, on the other end, a very expensive product or service is that you will find, once you decide what you're going to do and where you're going to do it and how you're going to do it and with whom you're going to do it, that you have enormous options. But within any buyer base, there are segments. There are people who want more. They want more advanced things. They want more specific things. They want more individualized things. A good example is that I have partners all over the world. Many of them sell an introductory product of mine. Some of them give away a really cool short course. We call it a primer, a basic overview lesson. Then they take that person who got it for nothing and they sell them a $500 product. Then they take the $500 buyers and they sell some of them or many of them a $4,000 home study program. Then they take the people that bought the home study program and they sell some of them a $10,000 live program. Then at the live program, a small number of those people come to me and they want me to counsel them privately for $200,000-$300,000 a year. And another group want to buy specific training on specific topics like building a sales organization or mastering online marketing or building a referral system. And I'm not trying to give you a headache. I'm trying to vastly excite you and motivate you and encourage you and assure you that if you want success as a business owner, an entrepreneur, it is within your power. I can't guarantee anything except to tell you that everything I'm sharing, everything I will share, is based on successful and impressive achievement by people either I have helped or my colleagues have helped. So what you do with it is up to you, but you are being given not at all theoretical and not unproven, but very, very, very powerful education, understanding, instruction, and mentorship that I can promise 99% of all the business owners in your country don't have. I can promise that people starting a business won't even understand, and I'm just getting started. In deeper modules will take you even deeper. The third advanced way to grow a business is every year to acquire either or both a similar business in the same field that you can buy not for writing a big check, but for paying the owner out of the profits. And why would they accept that? Because when you combine two businesses, you can eliminate a lot of the overhead of the one you buy. If you've got a billing department, if you've got a shipping department, if you've got a manufacturing department, if you've got a customer service department, if you've got a showroom, you don't need two. So if all of those areas are expenses right now for a company that's a good company, but a company that's struggling, if you bought that company and combined their buyers that you don't have with your buyers, and you eliminated 90% of the overhead that they have, you'd make a very unprofitable or low profit business very profitable. And you can do that over and over again. It's just one of many things you can do. Another thing you can buy, and I'm trying to not give you a headache but get you excited, you can buy a business that is what's called a feeder, or is fed by the business you are in. And this gets into relational capital, which is a very big subject that I want to take deep and broad in an entire module. I don't want to go deep today. But if you think about whatever business you want to start or whatever business you want to buy, you've got to think of what else do people buy before they buy that product or service? What do they buy at the same time they buy that product or service? What do they buy after they buy that product or service? And what do they buy instead of that product or service? It gives you a lot of possibilities. Once you identify those possibilities, you now have a number of other businesses you can acquire or start that either would feed your business, because they will bring people to you who are ready to buy your product or service, or your product or service is the first thing they do when they're buying something else, so you can feed that business, and it all becomes synergistic. It all becomes connected, and everything feeds one another. And I'm giving you very cool thinking, and it may seem like too much, but please don't get overwhelmed. I'm giving you the vastness first, then we'll break it down into little parts. Then we'll evaluate at the end everything we've learned. Then we'll figure out how to take what we've learned and do like a Rubik's Cube or a kaleidoscope and give you the understanding so you can figure out exactly and precisely and joyously what to do first and where you want whatever you do first to take you to long term. So please, please, please just enjoy this process, because I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm trying to excite you. Now I'm going to teach you another group of drivers. These are skill sets you need to either possess or master or acquire through partnership or association with others to be a great entrepreneur. One, we've already talked about. You must become masterful at understanding and harnessing the power of marketing. It's too big of a subject to get any deeper than I introduced here. We'll do a whole module on it. The second is the ability to sell. And sell sounds like a manipulative concept. It really isn't. It really is nothing more than the passionate ability to advocate, to champion, to represent a concept, a solution to a problem, a way of achieving an opportunity or desired outcome with such compelling certainty and such trustworthiness that the prospective market you are selling to totally and absolutely embraces and accepts what you're saying, and they trust you enough to take action. So you have to become masterful at marketing. You have to understand selling. Ironically, within these two categories, marketing and selling, there is a bridge that you have to not even master, because it's a natural element within the human being, but most people in certain cultures don't really understand it, and it's trust building. There are 13 characteristics to trust building, and I will share with you all of them. Again, I'm not trying to tease you, but they're too important to just give you a little bit. I'll go through every one of them, and we will do them in a way that truly and clearly shows you how to possess the absolute most powerful level of trust with everyone you deal with. Now, why would you want that? Let me tell you why. A very good friend of mine who was a partner with Stephen R. Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and who is still a partner with Stephen M. R. Covey, who together they wrote 2 books about trust building, did research. And what they found was that individuals and companies that enjoyed maximum trust with their marketplace, with their team, with their vendors, with their community, performed 300% higher, more profitably, more predictably than people who didn't. So, first of all, knowing how and living in what we call a maximum trust sort of an environment where your mind, your heart, your soul, your communications convey and establish maximum trust at all times is vital for maximum success. It also is very liberating because it's a wonderful way to connect with people. And in many cultures, it's great advantage giving because cultures tend to be very private and very withheld. And the more trust you can create with your prospective marketplace, buyers, with the people you're working with, either your team members, your employees, your partners, your skill providers, with your vendors, the faster they will work for you, the more they will do for you, the faster people will buy from you, the more loyal they'll be to you, the more they'll come back and repurchase, the better vendors will be with you, the more liberal they'll be in giving you flexible terms. Trust building is very essential. So, marketing, selling, trust building. Now you have to be great at lead generating and conversion. What does that mean? It means knowing how to go and target the best market sources which represent the highest probability of buyers for you, Knowing once you've identified that source, and why would you want to do that, by the way? Because why would you want to go to a bad source of low probability buyers if there's a source of high probability buyers? So you want to, first of all, learn how to target the best sources. And because they could be anywhere, it could be a list, it could be a magazine, it could be an organization, it could be a category online, it could be a community, online community, it could be of specialized buyers. Once you learn how to identify the source, then you've got to learn the best way to target them and to generate the prospective lead. What does that mean? It means the ability to get the right targeted audience to want to start a meaningful relationship with you. And a meaningful relationship is a general word because it'll mean different things to different people. For some people, it will mean just starting to receive their educational material because you have an intangible product or service that takes a long time to sell. For some people, a meaningful relationship will mean buying the first time or coming to your store the first time or coming to your booth at a trade show. For some people, it'll mean getting people to read your blog or listen to your podcast. For different people, it'll mean different things. But the first step is knowing where the best source is. The second step is knowing how to access, how to reach that source in a way where they will want to respond and start a meaningful relationship. The next step, depending on your definition of a meaningful relationship, and I'm sorry that I can't give you one definition because depending on the business you're in, the product or service, the market you are sourcing and targeting, it's a different meaning to different people. Then you've got to become masterful at converting, at moving that person from a meaningful starting relationship to a meaningful buying relationship. And each of these have different elements. None of them are as hard as they sound. All of them take understanding and explanation and education, and each of them really could deserve a full module. I'm not going to do deep on any of them today, but I promise that we're going to create either full modules or sub-modules on each one so that you're not confused, so you have enormously greater understanding and powerful control of all of these, so you have the ability to choose and select and incorporate what is appropriate for you. But just right now, you have to understand, you got to be a great marketer, and a great marketer doesn't mean art, it's science, so you can understand it. There's ways to construct it, engineer it. There are proven ways, and if you do it reasonably well, you will be very, very successful. You've got to become a masterful sales and trust building, and that's not manipulative, so don't be at all intimidated or concerned. You've got to be masterful at targeting the right source, at moving that source to want to take action to have a meaningful relationship. You've got to become masterful at turning the first level of meaningful relationship into meaningful purchase. And then you've got to become masterful at knowing how to sustain and continue that purchasing relationship so that the investment you have made in targeting them, in moving them to a starting relationship, pays dividends and profits over and over and over again to you for an enormous period of time. You do that by understanding the power and the driving principles of marketing, which I will share in a module, of trust building, which I will share in a module, of qualitative advisory consultative selling, which I will share in a module, of targeting source, of stimulating and motivating the right, most probable source to want to have a meaningful starting relationship, of moving them to an ongoing relationship. And then you've got to learn the art of what is called upselling and downselling. What does that mean? It means that all buyers are not the same, and all buyers' needs, requirements, and desires are not the same. So if you treat them all the same, you are doing them a disservice and you are doing yourself a disservice. Why? Because some people are going to want more quality, more quantity, more combinations. Some are going to want more but can't afford more, so they're going to want to start with less. You have to understand that there are different stratas up and down the buying process that you have to make available, because different people are at different points of progression, of desire, or of ability. And ability can mean the financial ability to pay or the consumption ability to consume. I may not be ready for a full course on change management, but I may be ready for a book and a video that gives me the foundation and the fundamentals. So different people are at different places, so you have to know how to sell more things to the people that are ready for a lot more, how to sell less things to the people that would love to buy your major primary offer but either can't afford it or don't have the time or yet the motivation to do it. And by the way, I think there's 4, there might be 5 as I list them, categories of markets that you have to understand. That's why you have to source the best market, not the worst market. One market is people who are unaware of what you've got, or of you as a company, or you as a service provider, and uninterested. The other would be people who become aware but are still uninterested. The other ones are people who become aware and are interested but aren't ready to buy. The others are people who are interested and ready to buy but need you to provide the bridge to purchase and repurchase. And I'm just trying to give you these wonderful power principles that you have the ability to command. The next thing you have to become masterful at is both repurposing and referrals. They're different. Referrals mean if you're in a business, you start a business, you buy a business, you buy into a business, and that business sells products or services that many people should be and would be comfortable telling other people in their lives or in their businesses or in their families or in their churches to buy from you. You have to be masterful at knowing how to get them to do that. Why? Because a referral-generated buyer buys fast, negotiates little, buys more things, buys more often, is more enjoyable to work with, is more profitable, and costs you nothing to acquire. A marketing-generated client will cost you money to acquire. A sales-generated client will cost you money for a commission or a salaried salesperson or to go to a trade show. A referral-generated client will cost you nothing, and the more you understand referral marketing, which is an entire module because there's 93 ways you can do it, and I will teach it to you, the more powerful you will.